Hello, everyone. Welcome to another very exciting episode of Toonami Squad Sessions podcast. I'm your host, Samster299. You could just call me Sam, but there's another Sam here. Uh, but yeah, we have Phantom,
Yep.
we have Logan,
Yo.
we have Joshua,
Hey.
and Sam, the other Sam.
Hi there.
And we are here to discuss, more goodies and news that have come out between our last podcast and this podcast. And, I always try to space these out so that we're not severely outdating them shortly after, and yet for some reason we are always outdating these podcasts within the first 2 days of release. We did it with the last podcast that came out, and instantly One Piece and a bunch of other stuff got announced. And it kind of happened again with the one we did recently, but it was only for one topic. So shall we talk about that first topic, which is, Funimation's dead, y'all.
Rip.
So like,
Rip Funimation.
I'm gonna have to go through my collection and see what I have that's valuable.
Speaking purely out of self-interest. Oh no! What a shame. One technically less competitor. Oh no.
Is there really one less competitor if they're just merging in with the other branch of their corporate sibling?
Technically they're more of a competitor now, if anything. But yeah.
But
Under the Sony
yeah.
umbrella, though.
Funimation, so last podcast, one of the topics we were discussing was a Q&A that Jason did on Twitter a while ago. And one of the things he stated was Demon Slayer Season 2, and how they couldn't get it because Sony was being greedy because the movie did so well, so they jacked up the asking price. And I remember Logan was saying, it's because they want all eyes on their service, which is Funimation now. And all that happened literally the day after. As I'm editing that podcast, the news breaks out. Oh no, they don't want all eyes on Funimation. No, they want all eyes on Crunchyroll. And I snuck in a little Easter egg when that podcast went live, and I was like, yeah, by the way, LOL.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I figured. Each service had their own strengths and weaknesses, but I felt like Funimation overall probably had more to offer from their platform. Had they integrated the Crunchyroll stuff over. I
wish
guess
they did that instead of Crunchyroll, putting everything on Crunchyroll.
The only thing they really would have lost out on is Crunchyroll's system has a much better handling on subtitles, which makes sense because obviously that's been their bread and butter longer than they've been doing dubs. So I think that, yeah, they would have lost out on that, but I feel like the overall support and just, the player, the Funimation Now platform made more sense to me. But I guess when you spend that kind of money on buying up Crunchyroll, you want to get your investment out of it. They'd already been sitting on Funimation for a few years, so obviously they saw the value in Crunchy over Funny.
Which is kind of ridiculous to think about because Funimation pretty much built the Dragon Ball franchise in the West. You kind of associate them with a lot of the popular shonen series, so you figure that name still has some type of power, but I guess Sony just thought, well, we spent this much money, we're just going to move everything over under the Crunchyroll label now.
Well, and it's funny, too, because it's like, as much as Crunchyroll has obviously moved way beyond their origins, they're never, ever going to break free of, they were a pirate site when they started. And, you'd think that at some point somebody in the Sony organization would be like, we don't want that stigma sticking around. It's hard to say what the bean counters would really want to do. And obviously, we know what they wanted to do and they did it.
Yep.
But it is a bummer to see, yet another, long-term label from the industry just, vanish. I mean, we already saw over the years Bandai Entertainment, Genion,
which was originally
ADV,
like
even though they're sort of
Pioneer.
still around. There's little guys like Animego who have been around for longer than any of them. But obviously they're a very, very niche of a niche. But it's a bummer to see them go away, and especially when Funimation has been both in the original Cartoon Network era and the Adult Swim era such an absolute pivotal player in Toonami's success.
Yeah, and that kind of leaves what does that mean for Toonami now? Does that mean Sony's basically saying either pay up or you're not getting anything, or is this just only specifically we're not going to put the newest shit on there, we'll give you this old crap that we don't want anymore? But I'm not even 100% sure on that. I think what they want is to make Crunchyroll their Netflix, which is a little weird to think about because as mainstream as anime has gotten, it's never going to be on that same level as a Netflix.
Right.
I'm gonna be very pessimistic here, just because I'm keeping my expectations very low, and I'm just gonna say the worst in my opinion. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong. Please, for God, prove me wrong. But I'm just assuming that Sony's gonna say "fuck you" to Adult Swim. You'll get the shows that you've already previously agreed upon, like Attack on Titan, One Piece. I don't know, maybe the next season of My Hero, but any new show that they get, they're probably just gonna say no. Spy Family.
The thing is with One Piece, that's Toei. They can always just continue to work out the deal with Toei, given if they play nice. Who knows on that? We'll see. After that One Piece live action show crashes and burns, we'll see where they stand on we'll allow you to have a good deal on the One Piece anime to air on TV. But as for existing agreements, yes, Attack on Titan is still coming. The next season, the final season, will still air on Toonami first because Katakawa and Kodansha want it on TV. And then you have Toho, who likely do want My Hero on television as well. So I think those are safe. But any future agreements, I'm not even sure about Dr. Stone because I'm not sure who's involved with that and whether or not they even want it on TV. I'm sure every studio under the sun, they want it on some Western network, but it's that's not happening for every show, and not every show appeals to every network.
I'm just flat out assuming anything under Funimation / Crunchyroll, I should say now, and Aniplex is probably like dead in the water for Toonami. Like, we could probably still get a Viz meet.
We're not getting JJK, all right?
That's true. We're not getting that.
It's hard to say too, because you know stuff like Dr. Stone it's TMS, who we know has a fairly good relationship with Adult Swim, at least based on Lupin. I know firsthand experience that TMS deal is a direct thing. Same thing with Sunrise when we've gotten Gundam shows. Those are coming direct from Sunrise. Thankfully there's another Gundam show coming, sometime this fall. If they manage to simuldub it, who knows what we'll get there. So I mean, the stuff that they can negotiate directly with the studios, and they aren't dealing with licensing, at least from another distributor already. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to give them at least a bit of a leg up, but it just depends on whether Funimation and Crunchyroll go for, or obviously not just Crunchyroll goes for getting TV rights, or if they're going to forgo them and leave them to the studios, and Adult Swim ends up negotiating with the studios.
But that sounds like a more complicated process, depending on if they even have a good relationship with that studio. We obviously know about Toei and TMS and Sunrise, but what about all the other studios that aren't them?
Right, yeah. As soon as you start bringing the other studios into the mix, it's if they don't have a pre-existing relationship, how long does it take to even establish that relationship? And that's tricky. That's not something you just go knock on their door and go, hey, we want to license this. Like that's not a quick process. And while I'm sure they had, an inkling of this stuff coming down the road, you can only plan so far out.
Mhm.
And,
Well, yeah,
and I think honestly, even older shows are going to be difficult if they're things that Funimation and had the TV rights to, because I think what Crunchyroll's doing with the removal of the ad supported option for a lot of new shows, I think goes to really show you what they think of ad supported platforms. And at the end of the day, technically that's kind of what Toonami is. I mean, obviously Adult Swim licenses the shows and they recoup their own costs through ads, but as far as the people at Crunchyroll see it, that's just a free broadcast, as far as they're going to look at it as far as the budgeting thing.
Yeah, like we're very uncertain how this would affect Toonami, so I'm just like, well, let's wait for the next Jason DeMarco Twitter Q&A to ask it. And
there are things that he's probably not allowed to say because it's like, well, how far can he take it before he damages current existing relationships? Like, he still wants to have an open door with Sony, because there's still a possibility that Sony might be like, okay, we'll work with you, but we're not going to make this easy. You pay us this amount for this show, or get out.
Right? Yeah, it's one thing to badmouth Netflix and going, oh yeah, they keep snatching stuff up and locking it behind a 25-year paywall, because who cares? You're never going to have a relationship there to get the stuff on TV. So, shit talk them all you want. Who cares? But yeah, exactly. You don't want to burn your bridge with Sony in the event that they suddenly are like, well, we could have come to an agreement, but you decided to, badmouth us for 6 months, and so, piss off.
Yeah. And that's just not good, because unfortunately for Sony, they have a monopoly on the Western anime industry. So they have full control over any license and deals, and especially the big titles are under them.
Yeah, I'm just because Jason has said that yes, this assimilation is messing with them. So what we know, we won't know. But I just hope that they can work.
I'm sure when Jason DeMarco retires and everything, he'll write a huge novel about all this and be like, well, we've tried fucking working with Sony and they were like, fuck you.
If there's any silver lining, it's that Jason has said that they've got other Toonami originals, and he's already said that aside from what's already under the Crunchyroll Adult Swim partnership, that like Uzumaki, that's still going to be under that, because
Uzumaki was never a part of that deal. The final one was Shenmue the animation.
Yeah, and he said before too, no more co-pros for obvious
reasons.
But
that's what I mean, is they're saying that they've got other stuff in the pipe that's not, that they've got new productions that aren't associated with Crunchyroll. So I mean, obviously the new Fooly Cooly stuff that we just saw announced, that's clearly not connected to Crunchyroll. So I don't think it spells doom and gloom for the block if they're already projecting that far forward to bring out new in-house productions. I mean, even if they're produced by an anime studio, I think it's fair to call them an in-house production.
Yeah. And I can kind of see that's kind of where Toonami's been going for years now, is they're focusing in on their originals, because they kind of figured that at some point in the future, either Netflix or their competitors, or maybe at a certain point, one of their big partners like Sony or whatever gets big enough to the point where they're like, well, we don't need the little guy television anymore. We're focusing in on the streaming future. We don't need TV. And I feel like that's a narrow-sided viewpoint, because there's still people who use television as a means to get into this medium.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and if history's shown us anything, with things like the second season of Big O and Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, the stuff that Adult Swim has perpetual rights on because of their involvement in the production has come to serve them well in the past. And I think building a stable of shows that they own and will be able to dip into it anytime they need them, it ends up paying off. And you think about it, they've if you count those shows and now stuff like Fena and Blade Runner. I mean, even all jokes aside about how many times they reran stuff from Blade Runner. If in a year they go, hey, we need to slap something else on the schedule, they've got a whole bunch of options that'll last them, 6, 10, 12 weeks, whatever. That's good to have in your back pocket.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, just to end this topic, because we've already been going on for 15 minutes. I just hope like Adult Swim and Sony can work out just some sort of deal, so they can still keep putting stuff under on Toonami. I know Ranking of Kings has been a big talking point. Spy Family just came out. I know that'd be huge. And yes, JJK. But yeah,
It'll never happen.
Yeah.
I was trying to give the boy hope, Logan.
No, sorry, we can't have hope around here. We have to be doom and gloom.
Can I just say, going off on a bit of a tangent, it pisses me the hell off that they can't get it on Toonami, but they air commercials for the movie during commercial break. Why can't you get the show on Toonami, but you play ads in the commercial break during Toonami?
Adult Swim just wants to see you suffer.
So it's like, yes, we'll let you air Jujutsu Kaisen, the promo for the movie that's out in theaters right now. Do it.
Anyway, next topic. So last month was very special in terms that we celebrated 25 years of Toonami. Ooh.
Hooray!
Hooray, I'm
so
you're closer to death.
So I kind of had I'll say I kind of had my expectations high just because I thought they'd do something on par with what they did for the 20th, and that wasn't entirely the case. Most of their celebrations were on the internet, uploading older promos and stuff, and with the return total immersion, which we'll get to in a moment. But I just thought it'd be a neat idea if we go around the room here and each of us talk about how we stumbled onto Toonami and what got us into it and what made us become fans. Just like Saitama, though, you idiot, shorten it to 20 words or less.
Is this Twitter?
No, you don't have to make it 20 words, but just don't take all night. I'll go first. I mentioned it so many times.
Hey, 20 words or less, damn it.
So many times that my introduction, I didn't watch it during Cartoon Network days, just because my household was very strict on what I was allowed to watch. They were super judgy of what was on TV, and not to mention they didn't like anime as a whole. My house is a religious household, so that was lovely to deal with. Pokemon was satanic, so anything that looked like Pokemon was essentially evil too. So anytime I see ads for Dragon Ball Z or Yu-Gi-Oh, I was like, no, I can't watch it. I'm not allowed to. And then I didn't get into it until, I've mentioned it before, Dragon Ball Z Kai airing on Nicktoons Network. That's a real thing. I remember just turning on my TV because I used to watch Nicktoons a lot just because they always reran, older, better shows like Danny Phantom or Fairly Odd Parents, and then I just turn on one day and all of a sudden I just hear Goku. And I'm like, what's this? Oh, this is that Dragon Ball show. And it was one of the Cell Saga episodes. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. Next episode plays. Oh, wow. Oh, damn, I'm hooked. So, Nicktoons was airing Android Saga into Cell Saga, so I didn't even start at the beginning. Saw that. Saw, Super Saiyan 2, all that. It was funky, though, because, I remember there was a part to where when Cell became perfect form, they just took a hiatus. Out of nowhere, no episodes dropped for months, and I was like, you can't leave me there. I didn't use the internet at the time, so I didn't know that was already resolved. And there was even a point to where they were airing Dragon Ball Z movies during that brief hiatus of DBZ Kai. and they were just giving anything from like Broly to Fusion Reborn, like stuff that took place way after. And with my knowledge of only Cell, I'm just like, Gohan's a Super Saiyan? Wait, Gohan's old already? Wait, who are these kids? And all that. Wait, well, how did they like fuse into one person? Like, all that. Yeah, pretty much Nicktoons, and then I didn't see anything else after that, and then just one day, I remember I was coming out of like a really bad relationship, and I was just like watching TV. It was like Saturday night, and I see on my guide Dragon Ball Z Kai, and I'm like, Z Kai? I was like, yeah, I remember watching that on Nicktoons, and I turn on and Adult Swim. Oh, Goku's bleeding. I didn't see that in the Nicktoons version. It was censored.
Yes.
And then like it went to commercials. Oh, I see Tom. I see the lineup promos. They gave Kill la Kill after. Let's just say, going from Dragon Ball to Kill la Kill, and seeing her like pretty much go half naked, like in a fight. That was something. And essentially it took off from there, because after that I just went into a rabbit hole, like searching and all that. Like I'm shortening it up. Like I left like a full detailed like story of mine like on my channel, but like essentially from there to I'm here now. So yes, I know how I said everyone to keep it brief, and yet I took the longest out of y'all. Anyway, so who wants to go next?
I'll go. Although before I do, I just want to say I don't like the broadcast version of Nicktoons. Just the licensing and music and whatnot.
Well, the Nicktoons version of Kai had the Yamamoto score, which
I think that's the last time.
Has one leg up over Adult Swim.
Right. I don't know. I think the last time I watched DBZ Kai on Nicktoons, they had no music whatsoever.
I have no idea.
On one of the episodes, but anyways, I'm not here to rant about Nicktoons and their broadcasting rights. We're talking about. Let me talk about my Toonami history. I actually started watching Toonami around sometime before The Intruder, the very first one. My brother and I would stick around and check out The Intruder and play the online games. I think that was like the only interactive games that we would play. And after that, my brother peaced out and I just stuck around, just watching Toonami until 2008 when it got canceled. And then I didn't have cable for a long time, and I didn't even see the April Fool stunt in 2012. But I did come back to Toonami a couple months after I moved down here to Florida and we got cable. The first thing I did was turned on Toonami at midnight. So that's it. That's kind of my abridged story on Toonami.
Who wants to go next?
I can go next. So, as the resident old guy, I got my start with like the OG original Toonami block in '97.
With Moltar?
Yes. Basically, like since I'm on the West Coast, I got started with it before there was even a West Coast feed for Cartoon Network. So the problem was when Toonami started at 4:00. For us, we were like, people on the West Coast, we didn't get to see it because we were still in school until 2:30, 3:00, and the block was only 2 hours long at most back then. And so the problem was, when it starts at 4:00 on the East Coast, it starts at 1:00 on the West Coast, and so you don't really get to see it. And luckily, when I didn't get to see the very first broadcast or anything, but it had only been on the air for, I don't know, a couple of months, I'd say. And I was home sick from school and just, was flipping channels. And, after doing the requisite, I'm home from school, so I'm going to watch The Price is Right, because we all know we all do that. Was flipping channels, and I came across the original Voltron, which I loved as a kid, and was like, oh wow, this is on. And kept watching it, and then watched everything else that was on the block at that point. And I want to say it took another 8 or 9 months before we finally got a direct West Coast feed, but I recorded literally every weekday worth of the block from that point on and watched it as soon as I got home. And just, same thing. Once it switched over to the West Coast feed, I, stuck with it when it was live and watched it for years and came back to it when the block came back on Adult Swim, and been with it ever since.
Ah. All right, well, now it's down to you two, Sam or JMB.
I guess I'll go. Basically, like Logan said, I was flipping channels. I came across it. I started in 1997. I don't know exactly when. I was flipping channels, and I saw Dragon Ball Z on, and I was watching it, and then started watching other stuff, and ever since I just kept watching it. But then I did lose cable for a little while, and I didn't start watching again until around 2008, and that's when they got canceled. And then the April Fool's thing, I actually didn't know it happened. The funny thing was, I was just starting to get nostalgic for Toonami, and I was saying I wish they would bring it back. And I started browsing YouTube to looking for old promos and stuff, and I seen about the April Fool's joke, and I'm like, what the hell? Like I was in shock. Like I couldn't believe that actually was going on, and it came back and been watching ever since. Like it blew my mind that I said, I wish it was come back, and then there it was coming back.
Read your mind. all right, Sam, you're the last one.
So my journey was when I was a little kid. I used to watch Cartoon Network a lot. I don't remember specifically when I started watching it, Toonami, regularly. I think regularly was back in '98, because I don't remember Moltar that much. I was still like a little kid around that time, like maybe 3, 4, 8, like 3 years old around that time. So my memories of Moltar non-existent, but I do remember watching shows like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon. I think Thundercats was still on in '98. I think it was. But that's how I started with Toonami. When I got more interested in the block is when they added Tom 1. And around that time, they added a much more diverse and unique lineup, from like Outlaw Star to, I'm trying to remember. I guess I could go to Wikipedia, but Outlaw Star was on the block at like 99, 2000. They had Gundam Wing, and then I kept watching the block for years and years, and then by the time that we got to Tom 4, I kind of slowed down my watching. It was like 2006. I watched it infrequently whenever they had a special movie night or they were airing a show that I wanted to see. But by 2008, I wasn't there for their finale. And I was a little bummed out by that. I was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. I'll be back at home. I'll be watching reruns of Dragon Ball. And then I think at that time they had Naruto and One Piece airing.
Sounds about right.
But I believe that Saturday, when I was about to go to watch Toonami, they were showing Son of the Mask. So that was a little disappointing.
I don't remember that. Wow.
So I basically was like, well, I guess it's never coming back, because I waited for the next Saturday night, and I don't remember hearing anything because I wasn't on forums back then.
I saw the final broadcast, all right.
I don't remember. I didn't see it. I think I was doing something that Saturday night, and I didn't really care if I missed it.
I know it came out of left field, like it wasn't announced before, so people who were just watching that night got the bombshell that night.
Yeah.
I think it was around the time that Twitter was around.
No, I think
No?
2008.
Oh.
Maybe Twitter was in its infancy. Maybe.
I thought Jason said something about that on Twitter.
Yeah, Jason had actually commented on how he made a tweet about the end of Toonami, and that was, when, Twitter was early enough that he was, nobody even knew who he was. And then, had the pleasure of making a tweet about Toonami's return, several years later. And like you said, he goes, definitely never expected that when making that original tweet.
Yeah, I wasn't around for that April Fool's Day stunt, so I don't really have much comment to say, but I was a part of that whole movement to bring it back, and I was been in and out for a while with the block. I haven't been watching it regularly since 2016, I think, or 2017. So, but I still like the block, and I'm still glad it's still around and doing its own thing. And I'm really glad that it's still kicking ass and taking names. So that's my story.
I want to add something before we switch to the next topic. So like I said, I started in 1997, watched the Motown era, the whole Top 1 era, the whole Top 2 era, so I've been watching all those times. And I lost cable in just the whole Top 3 era. I got cable back and watched the Top 4 era to it ended. And the whole April Fool's thing and everything else. And another thing I did not think would happen when it came back was leaving the whole Toonami spot thing that we're doing now.
All right. Well, obviously, Toonami had its anniversary, and on the same day, they decided to announce some stuff. They decided to announce technically 2 or 3. Well, one of them's the same property, but 2 different seasons or series. And pretty much, they announced 2 new seasons of Fooly Cooly and a complete new original, which is like a horror show called Housing Complex C. I guess let's talk about Fooly Cooly first and then move into the other one. So Fooly Cooly came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to say that the new ones were bad. But Progressive was kind of mid. Alternative was better. And I wasn't really rushing for any more. I don't think anyone expected more. Looking in the anime community, a good majority of the anime community pretty much expressed distaste for the fact that there's 2 more seasons. A lot of the quote-unquote reasons are because, it does disservice to the original OVA, and it's insulting to try to replicate that work or try to keep it alive, when a lot of people are saying it should have been that one season. They shouldn't have tried to do any more than that one season. That was the reception.
Here's my take. They have a lot to prove for these new 2 ones, because I didn't really care for the last ones. Granted, I still haven't finished Alternative, but I rewatched the first episode of Progressive and I fucking hated it.
And it's kind of sad because I actually wanted to like Progressive more. Because when I was looking at the ads, I was digging Progressive more than Alternative, and that ended up being the weaker one. And there's a small teaser trailer of Fooly Cooly, and I think they said both of these were doing different animation styles.
It seems like Grunge is going for CGI, and it's done by a different studio, so it's not IG. I don't remember the studio name that they have.
Yeah, so one of the new seasons is going to be CG. That's
I believe they are partnering back up with Studio Nut for Shoegaze, because they worked on Alternative, I believe.
Grunge and Shoegaze are the names.
I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it's it's the same thing we talked about with the live action Bebop. I mean, in the worst case scenario, the original's still there. We still have it. Is it a disappointment if they end up sucking? Of course, because if you hype yourself up for holy crap, we're getting more. It's a bummer if it ends up being crap.
And my thing is laws of diminishing returns. After a while, when you have too much of one thing, it starts to not be good anymore.
Right, and hopefully they learned their lesson from what worked and what didn't work with the other 2 sequels. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, if they make 2 more seasons of 6 episodes each and they end up sucking 2, live and learn. Hopefully they'll get the message after that and go, all right, we've done 4 seasons more than the original, and the fans have not accepted them in general. Maybe it's time to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, money talks more than really reception.
True.
If they still get viewership, if they still get money from DVD and Blu-ray sales, that's when they'll stop.
True.
So Grunge will be animated by Montblanc Pictures, and Shogazi is a production IG, and Nut.
Nut. We're getting that nut button out.
We
That's
came
what it
from
says.
the
Production IG X Nut.
Yeah.
Like,
They should have phrased that a bit better.
Yeah.
like I'm curious, but at the same time, I'm not, losing my shit. Like,
Look,
if it ends up being real good, then it's okay. But it doesn't.
I understand the reason why these exist is because Production IG bought the IP fully from Gainax fully. So they own that IP, they want their investment back. I understand that. But I also understand that the creator wants new blood at the helm, and they did. They got new blood. Maybe it's a little bit of where I stand on this, because Fooly Cooly is more of a popular in America, but why not get more English directors on board?
What the hell you doing, Sam? Too?
Yeah.
All right, I was trying to remove the screen share, and then I was trying to put it back to how it was. And well, now we're back to how it was. I didn't want to have the screen share on during the whole thing, because the way I edit these is I can't really have the video, straying away from the. I pretty much need to keep it with the square format in order to make the editing easier. Anyway, Fooly, yes. But the other thing that was announced was a original horror series called Housing Complex C. There's that one's coming this year. I forgot to mention Fooly Cooly's next year. This other one is this year, and I think they're trying to aim it for October. I believe I have 2 theories on how they're going to put this out. Either because they already confirmed Uzumaki's in October, so either this comes before or after.
I think this might be that summer show they might be hinting at, so that'll probably be coming out late August, early September, and then it'll premiere around the same, and then Fooly Cooly will premiere in early October.
No, Fooly Cooly.
Or not Fooly Cooly, Uzumaki. Sorry.
Considering how quick they just suddenly turned around and were like, oh, hey, by the way, here's Shenmue. It's ready. I wouldn't be surprised if...
with these originals, they likely don't want large gaps between them again, because there was a large gap between Samurai Jack to the new Fooly Cooly seasons. There was a large gap between the Fooly Cooly seasons to the originals that you see right now.
I swear to God, if Shenmue ends and they're like, hey, remember Housing Complex? That's coming next weekend.
It says it's going to premiere on Toonami later this year, and it's animated by Studio Katsuki. I apologize.
Yeah, and apparently it's an original anime. It's not based around anything, and apparently it's written by a popular light novel writer, I think.
Which is a good thing, because it means there's no preconceived expectations, towards it, like we've had with Shenmue and even Uzumaki. Anything
and
you're adapting like that, you're going to go in with preconceived notions about what you're expecting from it. So these wholly original titles are nice to see.
Yeah, but most of the time with original anime, they tend to suck. But here's hoping this one doesn't.
I mean, original anime, but then we have shows like Megalobox, and that's an original. It's based off something previous.
It's inspired by Atsuka no Jo. I believe I mispronounced that.
Yeah, it's Tomorrow's Joe is the general English translation. I would know that because I've worked on the films.
But like, even if I take that out of context, like what I liked about Megalobox was its art style, and everything else was basically, oh, it's just Rocky. I've seen this before.
That means you have not checked out season 2, and I'll leave it there. Just gonna say this right now, season 2, way better, and I'll leave it at that.
Maybe when Toonami airs it.
It felt like they would have aired it by now if that was the case, because I think it's about to be over a year old at this point. But yet again, I don't know how long the first Megalobox was out before Toonami aired it.
That aired about late December of 2019 or 2018. I don't remember.
But anyway, there's a trailer.
Sorry.
There's a trailer for Housing Complex out. It seems pretty neat. Like, obviously, like, this looks more complete than Fooly, so most likely we're gonna get it. Like, I'm assuming before Uzumaki. But yeah. So another anniversary goodie that they have done. We had Cosmo Samurai 2. We talked about this in the last podcast, but Jason was saying that was already in the pipeline before they were doing anniversary stuff. But then they kind of just dropped the bombshell on the night Cosmo Samurai ended. Oh yeah, by the way, next week we got a canonical Toonami Total Immersion event called The Return next weekend, and we were just like, what? It's like it was only a 2-parter, like, so. And Jason said that's most likely gonna be the last one in like a long time, because he was saying like the budget for those like exceeds so many times. And I'm just like, okay, so like speculation was, when you call something the return, what's returning? Spoiler alert, in this case it was the original Absolution, although not completely the original.
It was
about the size of 2 football fields.
The version of the original Absolution.
Yeah, so like, so many people were speculating, well, who or what could be returning? Some people were thinking like an older incarnation of Tom. Others were thinking like maybe one of the older enemies from those other ties. And yeah, it just turned out it was the old Absolution. But like, I just don't like, because like
from the future.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Like 200 years, they say.
Time travel bullshit. Like, and then like even Sarah like hacks into the thing, and Sarah 1 is alive or there. I'm surprised that they didn't like completely bring back Sarah 1. Like, we just have Toonami with Tom, Sarah 4, and Sarah 1 all of a sudden. Like, that would have been something interesting.
I don't think Adult Swim can get her back. I'm not
sure. Or they could have just had. They could have just
available anymore for voice work.
Well, I mean, they also could have just had Dana do like a different type of, like, I don't know, accent or something. But so like, I didn't understand how they were gonna do this in 2 parts, because I'm like, when you end the first one like that, and then second one's just like, how is this the Absolution? Like, it's a bunch of time travel BS. Oh look, Absolution's pulling away from the Forge. It's like, well, we still got a job to do, and they're just like, deal with it.
It left me with a lot of questions.
I have a feeling that they're probably going to tie it up in like a comic or something, because Jason said they can't do more ties. So like, the only other thing I can think of is a comic.
Yeah.
And they kind of showed a version of Tom too as well.
Yeah, although that kind of turned, because like when you were looking at the second episode, a lot of the screens had like older Toonami promos playing.
Right.
Like if you saw that in the background.
Had dreams.
They had dreams and like a bunch of other stuff, and I think one of them was an old Tom 2 promo.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, oh crap, are they bringing back an old Tom? But it's like, no. That it would have been something to see one of the old Tom models in HD.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, we got Tom 3 in HD.
I'm pretty fond of this Tom design. I really don't want another.
Well, like, I don't want them. I don't want them to change Tom. Obviously.
Yeah.
Would have been cool.
Tom 6 version too.
Like, it also would have been cool to see like Tom 3.5 from the post cancellation era just for a brief moment.
I mean, aren't they basically the same top model though?
I think Top 3.5 is a different version, if I remember correctly.
They never explained 3.5. Like, I think he was mainly just there because they had to rush something to, like, because they were pretty much given less than a month when they were given the green light to go fully back on air. So like they had to
Like Lance would be like, okay guys, we're bringing you back, but have something ready within 2 weeks.
So like essentially just take one of the older top models, give them an HD upgrade, like keep them. And the 2012 like aesthetic brand is essentially their 2005 branding also.
But to be honest, I actually really like that branding a lot.
I like it too.
I like it a lot more than Pipes, although I really like Gothic as well.
Like I kind of wish it's just one of those things because like I came in so late into the game that I wish I was kind of there like early. Like, and what's funny is too is like I actually remember some of the old 2012 promos because one summer, which I think it was 2012, I was at my grandparents for like 2 weeks, and almost all the time, like in the night, I would watch Family Guy and Adult Swim like in my room, and like whenever the commercials breaks hit, I would hear like Tom going, "Toonami's back, bitches," like with Bleach and all that, and I was just like, I'm not allowed to watch this. But and you know, and I even remember, I even remember one night tuning into Adult Swim expecting Family Guy, and like, what is this garbage? I want my Family Guy, and then I just shut off the TV.
So obviously, what Toonami should have done during that time was to air Family Guy on Toonami. Like it was the perfect anime.
Yes.
No, King of the Hill is the perfect anime.
I mean, you're not wrong there too. They should have just killed off Bleach and just replaced it with King of the Hill and Family Guy.
All right. Well, anyone else got anything to say on the return?
It was nice.
Yeah. The graphics. I really enjoyed the new graphics.
I'm actually very proud of myself because like, whenever it comes to these Toonami aesthetics, like I try to see how fast I can work with them. Like, and usually when it comes to like something what like, and I should like, this is a weakness of mine, 3D. Like I don't do 3D often, like barely. Like, and with the recent brands that we've had, like they've been like very 3D heavy, so they were just like so out of my expertise. Like I do something, but then when this new brand came out and it was like complete flat, I was just like cracking my knuckles. Like, finally, this is like I can do something. And I wanted, because whenever I do like fake bumpers and stuff, I'm using pre-made assets either made by Caboose Jr. or this other fellow named Jimmy Wingfield. But I actually, yes, shameless plug here, I actually did the new assets myself, like, which you can find on my channel. If you ever want to make fake bumpers, like I actually did it for once with no one's help, and I'm very proud of myself for that. Anyway, moving on. So next topic, I'm pretty sure Sam here can have a lot to say. We had a show end on Toonami.
Yeah, Sam 1's perfect for this one.
Made in Abyss had its finale. You know, I really wanted Sam here last podcast when we were talking about Made in Abyss coming, just because I knew he had a lot to say then, and he'll probably have a lot to say now. But yes, Made in Abyss had its 1 hour finale. Now, originally, I was going to put this podcast out last week because I thought Made in Abyss was 12 episodes. So I want to put this podcast knowing what's replacing Made in Abyss, because I didn't want to outdate it again for the third time in a row. But then it turns out, oh no, Made in Abyss is 13 episodes. It's like, well, then we're most likely going to have to delay it by a week, because since when does Toonami actually announce a new show more than a week away? And then that's what we did. But we'll get to that. Anyway, Made in Abyss, it ended. What the hell?
Yeah, what an ending.
There he is laughing
Sam,
maniacally.
I mean, I saw this show back in 2017. When it came to the block, I was like, yes. Now I get to see all the reactions, and I got exactly what I wanted. And it was
I knew something was fishy too, because even before Made in Abyss came to Toonami, I remember like a meme someone did where it was where like I think like they made like a fake Netflix recommendation bar, and the title of it was anime about children trying to escape death. When one of them was Promised Neverland, the other was Made in Abyss, and I forgot the third one. And it was and someone was like, man, there's a lot of anime about children trying to escape death. So like I already know. Wait, Made in Abyss, isn't this like a scary children death show or whatever?
Yeah,
and
you
then
say
like
Promised Neverland vibes.
Promised Neverland vibes. Like the last episode was giving me Full Metal Alchemist Alexander vibes.
Whatever Full Metal Alchemist did, that was pussy ass shit.
Anyway, but yes, my general thoughts is I enjoy it. I swear to God, there was too many pee jokes. Like I'm like, why do they keep having to joke about Rico pissing herself? Like you should have done it once and that was it, because it just gets uncomfortable after that. Ray is interesting. There's definitely something fishy going down at the bottom, and also fuck whatever his name is. And how did everyone else feel?
I still think it's one of my favorite shows of 2017. It's still a really good series. I will agree, like, there are parts of it where I'm kind of like, that makes me a bit uncomfortable, and I don't really appreciate that being in the show, but I can easily, like, move past those points because the story it's trying to tell and the characters I had such an emotional attachment to that it just means, like, hey, I like the show for all of its problems.
Yeah, I mean, Sentai's got a sale going on. It might have ended now, but they had the entire first season and the movie collection on sale. And I went out and bought them, especially the movies, because I was like, well, the movies aren't going to end up on Toonami more than likely, unfortunately, because we all know what's going on with that. But I was like, yeah, you know what? Because I know there's, I believe the second season's coming this summer, if I recall right.
Yeah, I think so. Or fall. Yeah. I think it's fall. It's coming.
Yeah, either way, it's coming sometime this year. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab the movie. And
I should probably get on to buying the movie because I own like the box set, like the premium box set for the first season because I loved that show so much.
And let me guess, the only way to stream the movie is High Dive.
Of course.
Oh, by the way, there's also a video game adaptation for Made in Abyss.
That game looks
terrible. Awful. Like we've had better game studios translating anime well, like into the 3D.
I get that publisher who's making it, which I think is Spike Chunsoft. They don't have like Bandai Namco money, but like the game just looks like shit.
Spike Chunsoft is essentially your go-to developer when you need a 3D anime arena fighter, like a Jump Force, which is delisted, by the way.
Project Cross Zone. Still want that game.
But I enjoyed Made in Abyss. I'm like curious, like I'll probably check out that movie, although I don't feel like paying for a damn High Dive. Who the hell wants
just get like a month trial or get a week trial and just watch the movie and cancel it.
Good idea.
Yeah, I could do that too. Or I could not, I'm kidding.
Or you could buy the movies. Movies aren't that expensive, at least for anime, they aren't. I'm sure like on a discount for Sentai, like you could probably pick up like a Blu-ray of the movies for like less than $10 probably.
Yeah, I like going off on a bit of a tangent. I just like how I put a lot of money towards getting One Piece movies on Blu-ray, only to find out not that long after that Netflix is adding them. And I was like, well, there goes all that money I put down the drain. Going back on topic though, anyone else have anything to say on Made in Abyss?
I will say I did want to watch this series back when Sam One did his review on the site. Never got around to it. When it started airing on Toonami, I was interested. It had me, and I was watching it. And like y'all said, there were certain parts and whatnot. But do want to see the movie, and I do want to see season 2.
I mean, I'll check out season 2 if it's simulcasting. I'll probably check out the movie too. Like, I'm interested. It's just they really got to tone down the awkward, like
Yeah.
jokes.
I do.
Like,
I do have hope that maybe Toonami can work out some type of deal with Sentai and their partners to air the movie, because the movie's kind of important because it ties into the second season.
not unless the second season just ends up adapting the movie like they did with Demon Slayer.
Maybe. Who knows?
And
I swear to God, like every time an anime film has a canonical movie, it's only a matter of time before it gets like an anime adaptation. But I'm predicting the same thing is going to happen to the Jujutsu Kaisen movie that came out this year.
Isn't Jujutsu Kaisen Zero just a prequel manga series?
It's a prequel, but it's still kind of important because yes, I read the manga, so like, like yes, it's important knowledge in the series. So yes, I still say it's important to the series, because I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but the prequel is important when watching the show or reading it. So I'm just like, because we don't get season 2 till like 2023. And I'm just like predicting that like half of it's going to be recapping that movie and the other half is going to be new material. But that's just me, and I could be wrong. But yeah. So moving on to the next topic. Now, there was a reason I delayed this podcast, because I didn't want to just do it until we knew what was coming after Made in Abyss. But we got our answer, and I'm very glad Logan is still with us, so that we can talk about this. But Made in Abyss, what is replacing Made in Abyss? Lupin the Third Part 6.
Well, I know Logan's got a lot to say about this one.
I mean, not much I can say other than, I love Lupin, and I wish Sentai the best with it.
Yeah.
Did Sentai just like outbid, or was that just like a case of TMS wanting to go with a different distributor?
No, honestly, no idea. That's inside baseball for the boss man to know.
Okay.
I don't know the details on it, but all I know is they got it and we ain't got it.
Well, that's infuriating.
Yeah. So like this kind of came out left field for me, because I know like they announced, I remember when they announced Part 6 and I saw that teaser trailer, and then I remember seeing an ad later that was like, oh, watch the first episode in theaters or something, but I haven't seen anything after it. It kind of just like fell off the internet, and I never seen anything come of it. So when Toonami, when Toonami announced it, I was like, oh, that was fast. I was like, is it like how far, like how out of, did it end already? And Logan said the day Toonami announced it was coming, that was the same day they announced the subtitled run ended, and I was like, oh, huh. It's like literally came out of nowhere, I guess.
I kind of expected it to come because, they are Part 4 and Part 5. I figure it's like TMS is throwing them a ball. They're like, yes, we want to air Lupin, we love Lupin. And they don't really care how it does because it's probably not that expensive of a payoff for them.
But yeah, I'm excited to see Lupin. Who doesn't love Lupin? Look at Logan here.
The thing about Lupin is you always know what you're getting. Yes, it has its moments where it does something that is some kind of a twist or some kind of a surprise. But at the end of the day, a Lupin series is a Lupin series is a Lupin series. Like, with the exception of the woman called Fujiko Mine, which was, obviously a radical departure from previous stuff. Lupin sticks to a formula, and for better or for worse, it does it well.
Like, I've come to learn that after every Lupin story, it ends with the gang running off into the sunset with Zenigata chasing behind them.
Yeah.
Recently saw Castle of Cagliostro, by the way, in my attempt to watch Hayao Miyazaki films. And I
Lost Miyazaki movie, you mean? The one that nobody knows about? Oh, wow.
Yeah, but, anyone else got anything to say on Lupin?
No.
I hope people enjoy it. It's not for me.
Did you guys talk about the episode 0?
What?
Oh yeah. Oh. So for it's not really going to be a thing for for Toonami, because obviously yes, there have been other people that have voiced Jigen over the years, but as far as, for the longest time now, Jigen's regular voice actor is Richard Epcar. So, that's not changing for Part 6. What did change is in Japan, Jigen's longtime voice actor, who I'm embarrassed to say I'm drawing a blank on his name at the moment, he announced his retirement as of, the launch of Part 6. But as kind of a parting thing, they did a sort of bridging episode between Part 5 and 6 that is sort of a Jigen-focused episode. So we did see on the schedule that, kind of like the Lupin OVA with Part 5, Episode 0 is considered part of Part 6's run, and so that's what we're premiering with next week.
So
Or
yeah,
this week, I guess.
Kayoshi Kamoyashi. And I might be pronouncing that wrong.
Yeah, so it was a good thing that in the schedule I put episode 0 instead of episode 1.
So this is going to be a 27-week run then, because they're airing this first, and then the regular series is just 26 episodes.
I mean,
Is it 26 or 24? I thought it was 24.
I think it's 26.
Either way, I mean, it's,
I mean, we'll have Lupin on for a bit.
It'll be over by towards the end of this year-ish.
So I'm more curious because at the end of this, I didn't know this until today. Shenmue and Attack on Titan are ending on the same night. Although considering that what we've had in the past with how close we've come, I assume that we're just gonna get one new show to lead, and either Shenmue or Attack on Titan is gonna take a rerun spot.
Oh god, please don't rerun Shenmue at midnight. For fuck's sakes, please don't fucking run Shenmue at midnight.
No, it's gonna be Dragon Ball Super again.
Yeah, we all know how that worked.
But
Worked out well.
Yeah.
I mean, it always works out well. It's Dragon Ball. So going on to the.
So it's 25 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So
it's 26 weeks then altogether because of episode 0 airing.
No, counting 0, it's 25 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So the last topic of the night, and no Phantom, I don't feel like glitching the video. That will require a lot of work. I thought it would be a neat thing to end the topic with what Adult Swim did for April Fools this year. Adult Swim April Fools are always hit or miss in my opinion. You have 1 year where just bombshell, like Toonami's Return, for example,
And
or
Rick
the
and
Star
Morty.
Takeover.
or Post Malone and what's his name playing beer pong while we get a first look at a bunch of new Adult Swim stuff. Or one of my personal favorites, the Toonami 2018 April Fools, where they essentially became it was literally as if what if Toonami and Adult Swim were a Japanese TV broadcast, and I liked it. I wish I could have stayed up for the whole thing because I already tried to stay up when they played Mind Game, and I was like, oh, okay, the movie's over, I'm going to bed now. But then they were like, nope, we're still doing this. JoJo, Hunter x Hunter, all that are gonna be airing subtitled, and I was like, gotta stay up. But sometime around Shippuden, I was like, okay, I'm going to bed. I wish I could have stayed up for the whole thing, but I couldn't do it.
That was probably one of my favorites.
I guess I could say this was my first Toonami experience before they shortened down to 3 hours. Back when they used to go for a full 6. No. I'll take that back because I forgot that there was a period of time where they were airing for 7 hours starting at 9. So no, because I did watch Toonami during that period.
I will say to this day, I still have that picture of the end credit scene of fully alternative as my cover art for my Twitter profile from April Fool's Night.
But going on topic, so what is this year's April Fool's? And that was
The continuing trend of
learning with Pibby.
2021.
Apparently, scared of it.
Learning with Pibby. So I remember they put out that pilot and everyone was talking about it. I was like, geez, why is everyone talking about this? So I took a look and it was essentially, man, what if you took a preschool Nick Jr. show and just flopped it. Like, that's probably a very screwed up description, but yes, you like, I guess, like, there was a sentient freaking, I don't even know what you call it.
Let's just refer to it as the darkness.
Sentient glitch
Okay.
that just is taking over all of Cartoon Network.
You can call it a glitch version of the intruder.
Yeah. So yeah, like, out of nowhere, April Fool begins, Pippi's there, and then they get sucked into Rick and Morty, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And then when they were given an episode of Rick and Morty with Pippi in the background, I knew what this was. It was, they're gonna run normal Adult Swim with Pibby in the background, and I thought they were gonna do something more because there was I don't know if anyone's seen it, but like, there was a scene in the Rick and Morty episode where Morty was like talking, and out of nowhere, like, he actually got taken over by the glitch, so he actually stopped talking and started like having a seizure, and I was like, is the whole broadcast getting screwed? Is this gonna become something bigger? But no, it was just like that one scene, and then things just went back to normal from there. And it's like, after the Eric Andre show, I was like, okay, so like, I know what this joke is, and I'm just gonna leave it here. And like, Adult Swim uploaded a compilation of like all the glitches, and I'm just like, well, this April Fool's joke says one thing. I guess Pibby has a green light, but
I mean, if those billboards weren't indicators enough, then I think we might be getting this. But then again, animation takes time, though.
And I mean, with all those shows, I don't know how much of a right issue that's going to be, or how much.
I mean, Warner Brothers owns all of that, so there
Well,
shouldn't be an issue. My thing is like, has it actually been fully greenlit? I really don't know. It could have just been like a little stunt for April Fools, and that'd be it. I don't know. I'm waiting for like a press release to hear more about it.
But yeah, like, that was like something. Like, I'm assuming it's greenlit considering they did this and they had billboards. Like, surprised they didn't put out a press release right then and there.
Heck, it even took over the Adult Swim section of HBO Max for like a week.
Yeah, like the only other person who's more enthusiastic about this than me is Phantom, and I'm not really enthusiastic about this. Phantom's very excited for this, as you can see.
But apparently,
Frightened and excited.
Yeah.
I am frightened and also excited. Bring it on, Adult Swim. Bring it on. We want corrupted cartoon characters.
Yes, I guess.
Let the darkness consume the cartoon universe.
Look, I was kind of somewhat hoping too, like, maybe they could just give like a Toonami promo, like, say like a lineup promo or something, and then Pippi's just in the background of that. That would have been so neat. Just so we could say like, hey, Toonami was part of April Fool's things now.
I mean, especially since this was 10 years to that day that they had the Toonami April Fool's done.
No, I don't think they're gonna do anything on that. Like, I was thinking maybe, like, because this is also 10 years of the revival, maybe on May 26th or the same weekend that they relaunched, they do something. But you know, I'm thinking about it. It's like probably.
Jason kind of confirmed they have something a little special planned, but don't expect a lot.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Get more merch, Jason.
I never really thought about it, but I can't believe it's already been a decade since Toonami's been back.
Yeah,
I'm old.
I kind of had somewhat of an idea for that, but like, since Toonami ended up rebranding anyway, I scrapped it. I was gonna like think of like doing a weekly rebrand in May of like the different Adult Swim era brands, but March took a lot out of me, and then Toonami rebranded to a new look anyway, so I had to do stuff for that. So I was like, you know what, screw that. Oh, sorry, not sorry. But yeah, anyone have anything else to say on this Pibby Magic April Fool's thing?
Not really.
Keep your eyes close to Dodge Greenlee's Instagram.
Huh.
If he says anything, but we all know there's some non-disclosure agreements, so we don't know what's gonna come out of it. But,
well, I think that does it.
Yeah.
The only other thing I could really say of is Boy, is this podcast going to get outdated by the next day?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure that some new announcement will happen. Seeing as we're recording on a Wednesday, I'm sure at the latest we're going to get some kind of crazy new announcement on Saturday.
Yeah. So, but guess what? We're gonna get 2 new shows to replace Titan and Shenmue in like a week.
I hope, honestly, I hope that they would have 2 shows, but at the same time, I'm willing to bet 100% it's just going to be like 1 show, and Titan and Shenmue is going to get like reran or something. Like I know Bebop is also coming to a close, but they could rerun that because they've done that before.
Yeah.
Like just start from episode 1.
I mean, maybe, but I hope that they just kind of take it off the lineup again for a little bit and then just rerun one of their current shows. They'll probably rerun Shenmue once Bebop ends.
Jason has said in one of his Q&As that they can rerun Space Dandy and IGPX.
I don't expect
they
them.
have those.
Dandy and IGPX, I don't know how they do internally, but from how long it's been since they've aired them, I get the impression that they don't do well enough to justify rerunning them.
They should rerun Pop Team Epic before the 2nd season airs.
Yeah.
That's if they still
they're
even
able
have
to.
it.
I was gonna say, like, if news did come out tomorrow, something we could
Jamie,
do.
we have to congratulate you though, because
Yeah,
you
he predicted the future.
Pop Team Epic Season 2 in 2018.
It was a little early for that, but he did it.
Congrats.
Anyway, I was gonna say, like, if news did come out tomorrow, we can do like a mini recording and then edit it into this or something.
If anything, I could just like freeze frame the podcast record
And
scratch.
it was at that moment that the podcast fucked up.
And it's like, hey, future Sam buzzing in again. Boy, was I right on this one.
It was not Jujutsu Kaisen that got announced.
Yes.
I'm just hoping that that they can work out some sort of deal with Sony so that they can still keep putting stuff on. It's just that with the whole Demon Slayer thing, like it just kind of put my expectations very low. And like going on to the top, Jujutsu Kaisen again, but like considering that movie's being successful, it's painting a scary picture that it's most likely going to be the same situation as Demon Slayer. Oh, movie did freaking numbers at the box office, so guess what? You got to pay for this at a premium. Well, like, yeah. Anyway, to wrap things up, I guess we can plug our crap now. You can follow me on Twitter at Samster299, YouTube channel at Samster299. I have made some I spent a lot of time editing videos during Toonami's 25th anniversary. I did a whole series where I essentially took today's lineup and transformed them into the brands of yesteryear, where I essentially did 2012, 2014, 16, and 17 era into with the current lineup. Although I say current lineup, maybe this is over, so it's outdated now. And then I knew I wanted to end it with some big bombastic video, and I thought to myself, a lineup promo incorporating all the brands, or at least most of them, would be something neat. And I spent like a good 6 to 7 hours on that. I blitzed through that in one whole night. And then not only that, but then they rebranded and I made assets, and I'm very proud of the work that I did recently. So give those a watch. YouTube channel at Samster299. Anyway, and who are you people?
Some weirdos.
Yes, we're all weirdos. We like anime. Why do we talk?
Or weaves.
So, who are you people?
I'm Sam. You can follow me on Twitter at SCUniverse.
I am Joshua Matthew, founder and creator of ToonamiSquad.com. You can follow me on Twitter at JMB_70056.
I'm Logan. I'm editor-in-chief for Toonami Squad. You can follow me at Schmolus1 on Twitter.
And I'm Phantom, the co-creator, co-founder of Toonami Sport Gaming Zone. Even though this is not a Toonami Sport Gaming Zone shirt, but
Sorry.
no, you're fine. And you can check me out at Fanstar64, and you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I was gonna say TikTok. We don't have a TikTok.
And we never will.
Nope.
Yeah. And then we have our merch website, redbubble.com/people/Toonami/shop. If you want expired or out-of-date merch.
That really needs to be updated. But yeah, I was also going to say, yeah, you could also follow at Toonami Squad, YouTube at Toonami Squad.
NTS Gaming Zone.
Yeah, that too.
Almost
Anyway.
NTS Gaming Zone.
And my lights just flickered.
All right. Well, this has
Well,
been another success.
Regarding the gaming zone thing, we kind of did have a little gaming zone moment when we was talking about the Million Abyss game.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it.
Yep.
We had another. This has been another successful podcast, and we have not mentioned OnlyFans at one at.
You just
did.
Yeah.
Hooray!
At least none of us got drunk this time.
As far as you know.
Well, I only had one drink, so that doesn't. It's not enough.
Anyway, y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. And we'll see you in like maybe a month or more for the next podcast. And hey, if this gets outdated again, then more power to us.
It just means we're consistent.
It means we're consistent.
Animation is cinema.
It means we're consistent, and also that if we ever feel like we're in a dry spell, all we got to do is do a podcast, and then there'll be something the next day. We're the catalyst. Anyway, y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. Bye bye.
Later.
Later.